Today, we're going to talk about a really big shift in how businesses actually grow. It's all about revenue operations, or RevOps, but we're going way beyond the textbook definition here. We're going to dig into why the smartest companies are totally rethinking RevOps, not as just some tactical team that fixes broken things, but as the strategic architect of their entire revenue engine.
So let me start with a question. Does it ever feel like your teams are kind of secretly working against each other? Marketing's hitting all their lead goals, sales is closing deals, but the whole system just feels, well, disconnected? If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone.
And that feeling, it really comes from what we can call the old model, a world where every team is excellent at its own function, but the system as a whole is just dysfunctional. Okay, so let's break down what that conflict actually looks like. Traditionally, right, each department is just trying to optimize for its own success. You've got marketing chasing marketing qualified leads, and you've got sales just chasing their quota. The real problem happens in the handoffs between them. That's where all the friction is. Leads get dropped, the messaging gets inconsistent, and the customer, they end up with this totally fragmented, jarring experience. So even if everyone is doing their job well, the system itself is just sputtering.
And this, right here, is the key insight. This isn't a people problem. Your teams are talented, they're motivated. No, this is a systems problem. It's baked into how the organization is structured. And a systems problem needs a system-level solution. And this is exactly where revenue operations first stepped onto the scene, designed to be that system-level connector. RevOps pretty much emerged to solve these exact kinds of disconnects. At its core, it's the function that's supposed to align sales, marketing, and customer success, all to drive growth. It was literally designed to build bridges between those silos.
And that makes total sense, right? But here's the question that a lot of forward-thinking companies started to ask. Is just connecting the dots really enough? Is that the true potential of what this function can do?
And this question leads us right to the core revelation of this whole explainer, the evolution of RevOps from being just fixers to being strategic architects. Okay, this is probably the single most important mindset shift you can make about modern RevOps. So forget what you think you know. RevOps is not a support role. It is infrastructure. Just let that sink in for a moment. It's not a support ticket queue. It is the foundational operating system for your entire revenue engine. Think of it like the roads, the bridges, and the communication towers that let all of your commercial teams do their best work.
So, if RevOps is infrastructure, what does that actually mean for the people in that role? Well, it means the responsibilities are elevated in a huge way. We're talking about designing workflows that cover the entire customer journey, building data models that actually show what's happening in the business, creating governance to make sure the data is clean, and, get this, leading major cross-functional projects.
This really gets to the heart of this new expectation. One source put it just perfectly. They must think like architects, operate like engineers, and lead like strategists. See, this isn't about managing a CRM anymore, it's about designing the actual blueprint for how the company grows. And when you start thinking this way, you unlock a completely new competitive advantage: the power of a system that just works. We spend so much time focusing on differentiating our product or our brand, but the true and often totally hidden differentiator in today's market is just how well your organization functions as one coherent system. It's your operational excellence that really sets you apart.
Let's make this practical. Think about your own organization for a second. Can you turn your data into actual decisions, or is it just another dashboard report that gets ignored after a week? A strategic RevOps function makes that possible.
Or what about this? Can you adapt your business model? Let's say you want to shift from enterprise sales to product-led growth. Can you do that without completely breaking all of your internal workflows? The flexibility of your system is a direct measure of its strength.
And finally, here's the ultimate test for any company that's growing. Can you scale your business without scaling the complexity? Can you add more revenue without adding more chaos? This is what a well-architected operational infrastructure makes possible.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's simple, really. It's not enough to just have a RevOps team. The goal is to elevate it. This slide shows the two very different futures that this choice creates. On one side, if you see RevOps as support, what you get are tactical fixes, reactive work, and you're just constantly putting out fires. But if you see it as strategy, as infrastructure, you unlock scalable systems, proactive improvements, and real sustainable growth. Your mindset here directly determines your outcome.
So unlocking this strategic value means you have to consciously elevate the function. It means hiring system thinkers, people who can see the whole picture, and embedding them in the strategic conversations where the real decisions get made. It means giving them a seat at the table.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Take a good hard look at your own organization and ask yourself this question. Is your RevOps function building your future, or is it just fixing your past? The answer to that could very well define your company's growth for years to come.